Hey everybody, it's Master Yallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Into the Badlands, Raven's Feather, Phoenix Blood. And this was a pretty decent episode. We had some nice fight scenes going on. We got a kind of weird kind of interaction going on in the middle, but overall, it did a pretty good job of advancing certain key players forward while making sure that we had some pretty cool action scenes. So we start off and we see that Pilgrim is dealing with the fallout of what has happened with Sunny. He's really short-tempered now, and he's trying to get one of his underlings to tell him what's going on with the Meridian Chamber. And he's like, listen, I'm usually kind of versed in all this kind of stuff. Everything else is kind of like made by God. And then he's like trying to question his faith and pretty much getting ready to choke the living shit out of him. But he's like, all right, I'll do it. It's pretty understandable because it's this ancient tech, but it was more advanced than anything you've done. And he's trying to deal with everything going on with having thrown Sunny out. And Cressida's like, are you sure that he's dead? And then that cuts to seeing that Sunny's drawing himself out of the water. He's pretty severely wounded, but the search party comes around and he's able to get one of them, take the dude out, and just kind of crawl into a pipe and get into this kind of like abandoned place where he starts kind of setting up shop, and he kind of starts talking with himself. Of course, the group then tries to get back and tell them about what's going on, and Nyx is there as well as MK, and the head dude's like, Nyx had asked about where this one person was, but the head guy was like, he's probably still looking around, no big deal. He then explains to Pilgrim that he thought that the dude potentially could have deserted, but they're pretty sure that it was Sunny that killed him, and Pilgrim was ready to pretty much go, and he went into his gift mode and was getting ready to kill him, but we see that Nyx has entered her gift mode and stops his punch, and of course, they're like, oh crap. Pilgrim is profusely apologizing, tells the dude to then head into the quarry to re-examine his faith, and Pilgrim's kind of shaken by this. Cressida does a little bit more digging, and she's kind of freaked out that Nyx can use her gift without cutting herself, because all the people that have been imbued with the gift now, artificially through the chamber, also still have to cut themselves to initiate their power, but Nyx doesn't anymore. And she relays the information that she was able to have a thought that cut deeper than any kind of physical wound of, like, Pilgrim killing Castor. And it's like, oh, geez. So then Cressida gets into her machinations and is like, okay. Goes, and we get to the weirdest kind of scene of Cressida talking and trying to get Pilgrim back into his right headspace for her. She's very Lady Macbeth kind of role. And the thing is, before this scene, I thought that they had kind of like a mother-son kind of relationship, but Pilgrim's talking about how he feels impotent and very angry and frustrated, and then she gives him a hand job in the back. And then gets ready to screw him after she's pretty much been like, you gotta watch out for Nyx and question her loyalty and all that stuff. It's like, okay. It was just a turn that I didn't expect. I'm like, what? Not that it's a bad thing, I'm just like, okay. Was not expecting that, but it just adds another layer to their relationship, which is really just kind of messed up. We see that Pilgrim has noble intentions, but the power's corrupting him. He's got this other person influence him to do horrible things in the name of making Azure the kind of place that I guess that her and him want to make it. It's just, okay. We also are getting throughout the episode that the Master has decided to help Minerva somehow, in her own kind of way, because Minerva's like, I kind of want my gift back. She's like, alright, I'll help you get your gift back. Goes Goldie Eye, which I kind of like to get more information about, and hits her in the head and pretty much sends her on to her own kind of vision thing that was similar to MK in the mirrors. And her whole thing takes place in her mind. Now, granted, I would usually say that the kill of the week would have potentially been in here, but there's another one that happens later on that, since this is all in Minerva's head, I kind of wanted it to be an actual kill, because once she gets in, she starts doing some badass stuff, and oh my god, I loved the opening parts of Minerva being in her own head vision quest thing, because I looked at this as kind of the cave on Dagobah kind of thing, and it kind of follows along that same path, because you understand what it's going through, because the master was questioning why she wanted the gift, and she's like, oh, you only trust power that you can control by yourself personally. It's like, yeah, well, let's see what happens with that in here. And she gets attacked by these assassins. But before that, we see that she's in this red outfit, and just like the saturation of the colors are just beautifully well done, and these shots and angles, and she gets cut by one of the people, and she immediately goes into her gift in this version. It's like, oh, okay. And she starts whooping ass. She first, like, hits these guys in the throat and has them kind of stunned, and then they drop their swords and they're about to go at her with these other kind of shuriken, and she like breaks their arms, like does palm thrusts at these guys, tree comes down and everything, and like, holy crap. But then we start moving into what this world offers. We see that Gaius comes in and is like, did you have one of your blackout episodes? And it's like, what? Okay, come on, let's get back. You shouldn't you shouldn't go off by yourself. You need a guard person, because this stuff happens a lot. It's like, okay, that's kind of weird. So they get back. We see that red is her color, kind of similar to Quinn, and that her symbol is that of the scorpion, which is actually pretty well done kind of metaphor, because in the end, Quinn, in his own kind of quest for power, and all of these barons' quest for power, they act as the scorpions, pretty much stinging anything that could threaten them, and then in the end, even get into the paranoid state of stinging themselves. They go back into the sanctuary that they've got, and we see that they're doing cogs and everything. Minerva's pissed off about that. We see that they're about to brand one of the cogs. She stops them, brands the dude instead, and we see that it's Tilda. She then has Gaius bring Tilda in to kind of talk with her, because she doesn't completely have her memories. It's just that kind of like, oh, past life kind of thing going on, as we see that Gaius is trying to help her in this war against the Raven, and that she has become the only Baron in the Badlands, but the Raven has risen to fight her. She, of course, tries to make Tilda feel okay, but you find out that Minerva was the cause of Tilda's parents' death. She tries to attack her, cuts her, she goes into her gift and just breaks her neck, and she's like, oh god, I didn't mean to do that. And she's like, no, get rid of this. It's okay. Gaius, of course, tries to comfort her and tries to get her to rest and everything, but it's not working out. They had captured someone who says that they know you, and we find out that this is Baji, and he's all just pretty much being another kind of fool to her, saying that, oh, what are you going by nowadays? Like Flea, the Widow, all that kind of stuff. And you're like, yeah, Raven's closer than you think. So, why do I need you? And of course, we then move on out, and we see that Gaius is sending troops further out. His tactic is that it would look bad on their power structure in the Badlands if they were bringing anybody back, so that way they're continuing to make their troops move forward to make it look like they're having progression against the Raven's forces. Which makes sense, but becomes tactically unfeasible if you go into a more protracted conflict. We then get into it in that Minerva had found coded messages, and she decides to kill Gaius, and that she thought that Gaius was betraying her. But come to find out it was Raven, and of course Raven is Minerva. And we see this great-ass fight sequence at the end of the episode, and it was very well done. And I'm not just saying that because I kind of liked what happened. Granted, there are some inconsistencies that do occur in this fight scene, but for having one person fighting themselves like this, they did a lot of good choreography. The only parts that really get kind of crazy is that, of course, they're fighting in high-heel stiletto boots. And at one point when they are starting to make their way up to the staircase, they're fighting and everything, and then they're going back down to the ground, you see that the Raven, Minerva, is not wearing those boots, and it's really noticeable, almost like when the Stormtrooper bangs his head in New Hope. It's like, oh god, yeah, that kind of But other than that, there weren't any weird kind of choreography. It flowed pretty well and really kind of showcased the differences between them, because she tried to use her gift on Minerva, but it wasn't working, and she had to fight fair. And it was just kind of crazy seeing Minerva fight herself like this, because it's always kind of cool to see someone having a similar style fighting each other, but this is the same person, and just to see how they would counter each other. But of course, the Raven Minerva gets the upper hand on her, and is like, I'm the light that you were trying to snuff out. You're the darkness, and you're trying to hide this truth from yourself that you're a tyrant. And of course, that's when she stabs her through and kills the red Minerva, and she wakes back up. It's like, that's the whole thing. Hopefully she learns that lesson about the gift. A lot of people are thinking that that power is worth something, but it is to an extent. The whole issue with it is a tool. Like swords and the other kind of weaponry. It's mainly relying on yourself and being strong enough on your own to take those kind of steps. Granted, Sonny was on the back foot when he was fighting Pilgrim, but it's, if you get into it and learn all different ways and all different moves, you get a Baji kind of scenario where he's able to take someone out of their gift, and he just made short work of them. So, hopefully Minerva's kind of learned that lesson, that the gift isn't this all-powerful thing, and that if she did get it with that kind of thought in mind, it would just corrupt her absolutely, and she'd be that thing that she had despised and was trying to fight. And we've seen her through the seasons going through that transition of making little concessions and little compromises and doing this and doing that and becoming the same kind of typical kind of Baron in the Badlands. And we also see that with Pilgrim, with him getting the gift. So that's where that part leaves off. We also get more with Sonny in that he's pretty much getting ready for any kind of scenario, and the thing is, Nyx and the rest of the Harbingers were sent out to look for Sonny. 2 of them come upon his place, and he's got a pretty effective trap set up. He blow darts one of them, and then knocks him out with a can, and then is getting ready to essentially stick him like a vampire before one of the other Harbingers comes in and is gifted up and pretty getting ready to kill her. But Nyx comes out of nowhere, and this is the kill of the week. Frickin' throws a mannequin arm through her and kills her. It's like, yep, that's kill of the week. And we get a cool kind of character moment between them, because Nyx had already kind of been having trouble with this, and knows that Pilgrim is a man, and that she has to watch out for him and what he's changing into. And of course, she's trying to tell Sonny to go take his son and just leave. And he's like, no, my son needs a world to grow up in. I gotta fix this. And he's like, I know someone that might be able to help. And he offers to take her along. He's like, listen, Pilgrim can sense me and everything. I'll just be a target for you. And he would home in on us. He's like, I'm willing to take that risk. But she's like, no, I'll get rid of the searchers and get you through. This, of course, she's kind of able to do, because MK kind of comes up. She said she went back for supplies, tells him to eat this kind of thing, says that she made the other people search farther off and all that, and she kind of wants to group up, but MK's like, no, we'll be a more effective search pattern if we did it by ourselves. It's like, yep, Nyx at least tried to get him out of the way, but we'll have to see how that happened and works when she's trying to get Sonny out of there. The other bit we get is that Baji is... It's pretty funny. We see Baji trying to milk a goat to get food for Henry, and Henry's all acting all funny and cute and everything, and then Tilda and Gaius get up upon him, and they kind of relay everything that's kind of happened, and like, okay, we're going back to the Viceroy, Lydia's place, so let's go there. So they go in, and we see that Moon greets them, and then Lydia's like, oh, it's been a while since we've had a baby here, and Baji's like, listen, I gotta go. And of course she's like, well, why are you leaving a baby here? He's like, listen, I'm not leaving him here permanently. I'm not leaving my problems here permanently. I'm gonna go and try and get somebody that's gonna help us in the real war that's happening and coming. And he doesn't go into great detail, but they do decide to help him, and Moon gives him his car, and he goes off to seek the help that he's trying to get. And I think Baji and Sunny kind of have the same idea, and they'll eventually meet up as they're trying to get the help that they need. They're probably eventually going to have to team up with the Master, because this is a thing that's going to be big for everybody involved. And I think the Master might potentially re-gift up Baji and Sunny in order to give them more even fighting ground against Pilgrim. But I'll have to see how that works out. I really enjoyed what they did with the choreography. Weird kind of stuff with Pilgrim and Cressida and all that, but we're getting movement. We'll have to see kind of what happens going forward. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.